Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. We are back with the transfer videos. Obviously, earlier today we've been reacting to the Premier League fixtures getting released, but we are back to business. We now know which teams are going to play where. We now need to sign players, and we have some breaking news on Declan Rice. An offer's officially been made, and we have a lot of more news after that. So, according to David Ornstein, Arsenal have made opening offer to sign Declan Rice from West Ham. Tim Lewis and Karen Brady held talks at PL AGM, though Edu plus Richard Garlick leading process. Man City now actively exploring on approach for 24-year-olds. So the first part of that is that Arsenal have officially made the first bid. I'm hearing it's around 80 million plus 10 million add-ons, so totals up to like 90 million. But that has already been rejected. So we'll come to the Man City news as well. Arsenal have made an opening offer to sign West Ham captain Declan Rice. Man City are also actively exploring an approach of their own for their player, for their own player, of their own for their player. Man City just got me confused all over the place. And then, according to the secret scout, West Ham looking around 110 million to 120 million. If more money is paid up front, then it could be slightly lowered. Arsenal and West Ham continuing talks. Board back Arteta agreement shouldn't take too long. That is according to the secret scout. So let's start about with the bid, because a lot of people I know would say, why not just give them this money? There has to be negotiations. Otherwise, you'll end up paying 200 million for every single player. That is why there's negotiations, and everyone has to negotiate in the team and around the board and everything. We cannot just ask them. Suppose you ask them, okay, how much do you want? And they say we want 200 million. You can't just say pay up that 200 million. Your team will run broke. That is not how transfers work. You have to actually negotiate. Could we have done it quicker? Of course, but you don't know what has been going behind the scenes. And am I still confident for this deal? I am for sure. Definitely confident. It's just the bid that needs to be agreed. They're also talking about it being almost 110 million, unless we decide to pay more money up front. So remember, we've been talking about installments. They actually agreed with Arsenal to pay in installments, in 2 installments. So if we pay like 70 million up front, then they could reduce it down to like 95 million or something, 25 million later. But if we want to pay only like 60 million first and then the second installment later, then they would say, no, what, no, 60 million first and then 50 million later. Because so basically, the more you pay fast, the more you pay upfront, the less you'll pay in total. But if you pay less at first, you're going to end up paying more at the end. So business, business, business. So unless we decide to give them like 80 million upfront right now, that's the only way that you can go like 200 million or less than that. But if we want to pay like 60, 70 million upfront, and right now we've actually offered them 80 million upfront plus 10 million add-ons, they're not happy with that. So maybe they want like 90 million upfront and then I don't know, 10 million later or something like that. I thought it was going to be more balanced than that, or like 70%, 30%, not literally like 85% fast and then you pay 15% later. But anyway, they have the ball is in their court. The player is theirs, and they know that he's a very, very good player, and they can literally even ask for 150 million. The thing is, I know people will come in and say, no, we just pay the money, blah blah blah. You can't just pay the money. You have to do negotiations. You can't just pay 150 million, because remember, you're also going to pay a lot of weekly wages. But obviously, if we don't pay quickly, there are other teams that are going to come in for him. And one of the teams that has come in for him is Manchester City. Arsenal have made an opening offer to sign West Ham captain Declan Rice. Man City are also actively exploring an approach of their own for the player. So this is my belief, because people will say, now look at this. We've waited for Man City to come in. We are taking too much time. I am pretty sure even if we made the opening bid 2 months ago, Man City would still have come in for him. I don't think it would have made a difference. It's not that Man City have just realized that, oh my goodness, Declan Rice is available. We didn't know that 2 months ago. No, whenever we'd have made the opening bid, whether it's January or February or March, Man City would not have just sat down and said, you know what, let Arsenal pick up the player. So for me, it doesn't really matter when we made the bid. Man City would still have come in for him. They're just waiting to see how Arsenal are doing, or what West Ham wanted and all that. Do they really need the player? I don't think so. Gundogan could be leaving, but they already have Rodri. Another thing for Rice to think is he really going to start as a Man City player now? Are you guaranteed at least 2 trophies there next season? Probably yes. But are you going to play every single day? Probably not. Are you going to play every single day at Arsenal? Yes. Are you guaranteed trophies? Obviously not. So if you want direct trophies, 2, 3 trophies in the same season with playing like 15, 16 games of the season, then Man City, you can go to Man City. But if you want regular football and you want a challenge to take Arsenal to the top of the table after 20 years, blah, 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 all that, then you can come to Arsenal. So for me, why have Man City come in? Of course, Declan Rice is one of the best midfielders in the league. Of course, they're going to come in for him, or they're just going to ask about him, or request to know what the details are about getting Declan Rice and all that. So it doesn't really matter when you would have made the bid. But are they just doing this, even not needing the player? Are they just doing this so that Arsenal end up paying a lot of money? Because now, if West Ham know, okay, Man City are in for him, okay, let's just ask for 120 million now so that we can have a bidding war between Man City and West Ham. Maybe the only thing I'm not worried about him choosing to go to Man City. I'm not worried about that, and I'm absolutely 100%. I'm not worried about him, Man City coming in for him. That he'd go to Man City. The only thing I'm worried about is the price now, because now that Man City are in, West Ham can just say 130 million. Let's have a bidding, or 90 million, not enough. 100 million, not enough. What about you, Man City? How much do you have? Man City can just say 110 million, and then there's a bidding war. So the only issue is now we might end up paying more money. And number two is obviously it's going to take a bit of time now. It's not going to be like we sign him tomorrow. But then again, you can look at it from the other side. Now that Man City are in, does that force Arsenal to just pay up right now and say, you know what, here, 95 million plus 10 million add-ons later, and then West Ham agree to that? Or do you think it's going to slow the deal down, and West Ham are going to ask for Man City's bid and then ask for Arsenal's bid before you know it, you're already in July? How do you think it's going to pan out? So it's going to be interesting once again. But according to Secret Scout, let's read the final tweet from Secret Scout. I'm not right. I'm on the Secret Scout side. West Ham looking around 110, 120 million. If more money is paid up front, then it could be slightly lower. So if we decide to pay more money up front, then they could reduce the price to like 100 million or 105 million or something like that. But obviously negotiations have to happen. You can't just end up paying 200 million for a player. You have to test the waters, especially for the bigger players, 200 million, 100 million, between 100 and 200 million. You have to do negotiations, unless the player is like a cheaper kind of deal. And even for the cheaper deals, like for example, let's use Fulham and Arsenal. Like we wanted only like 10 million for Leno, and we had to do a bidding process with them for like a month or two, and it was only 10 million. So all those players, you have to do the negotiations. Otherwise, you're going to pay 200 million, 150 million. It would be nice to just pay the money and forget about it, yes, but you have to do negotiations. Am I very wide about this deal? I'm still not very wide. I knew Man City and these teams would still come in for him, even if you had made the bid 2 months ago, even if you had to make the bid 3 months ago, they were still in for him. But at the moment, I feel like Arsenal are still ahead in the deal, in the process. We've been talking to him for much longer. Man City are just entering the race. Declan Rice already talked to Arsene Edu and knows what he's going to get at Arsenal. Playing time, a challenge. The young team, you could probably end up as a captain. Wages, I don't know if Man City can match or going to pass our wages, or they say 300k a week. It really also depends on how many players are leaving Man City, because if you go to Man City, you're not going to play. Rodri is there, Gundogan is there, De Bruyne is, especially Gundogan extends his contract. Bernardo Silva is still there, unless they're going to sell Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, and maybe a Phillips or something. They're also close to signing Kovacic already. So maybe Man City are entering this race just to spoil for Arsenal a little bit. They don't want to see, obviously we were challenging them last season, so they don't want us to get the better players right away as easy as that, because they now know Bayern Munich out of the race, Man United out of the race. But let's remain confident. It's going to be, it's the second year of the transfer window. Expect more of this. It's never boring with the national transfer window. It is never easy, the national transfer window. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.